Hello everyone, Dr. Suneel Dhand, internal medicine physician. Welcome to another video. Sadly, healthcare systems across the Western world are completely falling apart. I practice medicine in the United States and I'm from the United Kingdom. And both countries have enormous issues with their healthcare systems, both very different systems, but falling apart for different reasons. And in terms of my own practice, when I'm in the hospital, I practice acute care hospital medicine. And that's something that I think we do quite well in the United States. We're good at reversing acute emergencies quickly. And as an outpatient, I do my own lifestyle medicine coaching away from the system. For my own personal health, as I've talked about many times before, I do everything possible to stay away from the system. I don't want to get sucked into it. I avoid physician interactions. I avoid hospital interactions unless it's an absolute emergency because I know from working in the system what will happen. And for want of a better word, I really believe that huge segments of our system are a complete and utter scam. I want nothing to do with them. But it is very important that millions of people out there know the failings of our healthcare system and are prepared for what will eventually happen to either them or a family member. They should be fully prepared. And that's not to say that everybody who works in healthcare is bad. There are many fine people out there, many fine nurses, doctors, other professionals who do their best every single day, but they are part of a failing system. And I want to share with you in this video 5 ways that the healthcare system will inevitably let you down. And for want of a better word, pardon my French, it will screw you or a family member over. Number 1, pushing drugs and treatments with absolute minimal benefits. This happens a lot, and I've talked about this previously. There are statistical concepts in medical science known as absolute risk reduction and number needed to treat, which will often, or actually most of the time, never be advertised. And indeed, the doctor prescribing these treatments will not even know them themselves. Talk about a complete failure of our system. So what happens is these medications, and they're usually for chronic conditions ranging from heart disease to high cholesterol to depression, will be dished out like candy. And millions of people are stuck taking them, often indefinitely, and often the elderly population. It is so very sad indeed. If you actually dive into the data, if you actually follow the science, which is what this is supposed to be all about, the number needed to treat might be 1 in 20, which means only 1 in 20 people will experience any benefit from taking the drug. That's what the actual statistic will show from the initial studies. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't fancy my chances if someone said, here's an expensive tablet that comes with a ton of side effects, and there's only a 1 in 20 chance that you might benefit from it. I really wouldn't fancy my chances at all. I wouldn't be keen to take it. Similarly, many drugs out there, when you actually dive into the data, show an improved life expectancy of only a few days. That's it. You take a drug religiously for years and years, and you might live a few days longer. And the problem is that the way medical science is set up and the way the medical profession is set up is that they latch onto these minimal benefits and they don't look at the bigger picture, the patient as a whole. What else are they doing? Holistic medicine, what can they do in their entirety, in their lifestyle, in their everyday life to actually reduce their chances of illness by much, much more than taking this pill? Doctors are like robots most of the time, mindlessly following protocol, doing what they are told by higher authorities. And what a failure of our system that the doctor pushing these treatments won't even be able to quote you their actual benefits. They just do whatever they are told. And the result is millions of people are left taking these treatments, whether it's a drug or another type of treatment, often for years and years, and it actually brings them minimal benefits and comes with a ton of side effects. Number 2, hospital bills and outrageous charges. The United Kingdom is lucky in this respect, but in the United States, hundreds of millions of people get to see their hospital bill every year, the itemized billing. And it is absolutely outrageous. The charges are indefensible. And then there's a whole game that happens with insurance companies. I do not understand anybody that can defend this. And you will see many people online, top doctors, healthcare leaders, who will be defending the status quo and the current state of things, the way the establishment is set up. And all you need to do is look at a hospital bill to realize that this system is a complete scam. What on earth is going on? Absolutely outrageous that anybody could defend these outrageous charges. Number 3, the probability that you will get sucked into the system. This is one reason why I am very weary of any interaction at all with the healthcare system. And it goes something like this, and this affects millions of people every year. A test will be performed. It could be a blood test or an imaging procedure, and there will be something very slightly wrong. But the problem with that is that there's also a slight chance that you could have something serious wrong with you. It might be a minute chance, but they've got you by the proverbial you know what, on the basis of something small being wrong. And people get very worried, understandably, it's their health, and it will unleash a whole host of other testing, imaging procedures, blood tests, perhaps other invasive procedures, on the basis of the tiny chance that there is something wrong with you. In most other countries, this Pandora box wouldn't even be opened. And costs escalate as you have more and more tests, as you see more and more procedures, but you have well and truly been sucked into the system. Number 4, admission to hospital. At some stage, you or a loved one is going to be admitted to the hospital. And this is when you get to see firsthand how absolutely stretched our healthcare system is. Doctors, physical therapists, phlebotomists, nurses, you name it. By the way, nurses are the absolute heroes of healthcare. On a daily basis, they are asked to do things and deal with situations that nobody should be asked to deal with. If it was up to me, I would double the pay of nurses. They deserve far more recognition. But when you're in the hospital, you get to see all of these issues firsthand. Due to the nature of hospitals, there may be a complete lack of communication. Patients will be unable to sleep. There will be too much noise. I mean, how on earth can anybody's body regenerate if they are unable to sleep? The food will be terrible. This is a complete blind spot of hospitals. How is anybody going to recover from their inflammation if we are loading them up with carbohydrates and sugars? Nobody even thinks about that. If I was ever in the hospital, I would be asking a relative to bring me some good food in. I wouldn't eat the hospital food. And there's the issue of sinking in bed syndrome. That's what I call it. When somebody is admitted to the hospital and we don't get them up, such a simple thing to do, and patients just lie in bed for a long time. This happens especially to older patients. They get more and more deconditioned and weaker. And that's why I always say, if you really want to stay well, do everything possible to stay away from hospitals. If you need to be in hospital, be in and out as fast as possible. That's why I try to discharge my patients as quickly as I can. I don't want them to get other complications. Not to mention medical error, which is estimated to be the 3rd leading cause of death. Think about that. This is not deliberate. It is a reality of the nature of people being sick and what hospitals are like. And I would advise anybody, if you have a loved one in the hospital, watch like an absolute hawk. Be on top of things, what medications are being given, what tests need to be done. If you sense that anything is wrong, then speak up. Don't be afraid of getting on the backs of the professionals. Do not be shy. We're talking about life and death. If I had a loved one in the hospital, I would be watching all the time, like a hawk, to make sure nothing slips through the net. And number 5, this is perhaps the most important and the one that bothers me the most. And that is, the system won't be there for you when you really need them. This actually concerns me more for the United Kingdom than it does the United States. I think we have pretty decent emergency care in the US. We suffer in other ways, like try finding a new primary care doctor in most parts of the country. But in the UK, there is a big problem with emergency care. And here's why it bothers me. Take my elderly relatives in the United Kingdom. They have paid into the system. They've dutifully paid their taxes for 50 or 60 years. And in their moment of need, whether it's in their 60s, 70s, 80s, or 90s, the one time they need emergency care, it lets them down. It could be an ambulance that isn't arriving on time. It could be an unacceptable delay in the emergency room. It could be not having enough doctors to see you. It could be left lying on a corridor all night. But all of these things, after contributing for years and years, and in your moment of need, you have a higher chance of something catastrophic happening because the system is not there for you. Now, in the United States, we have Medicare, and the system fails us in different ways. But that, to me, is the ultimate fail of the healthcare system. If it is not there for you in your hour of need, then what is the point? What was the point of paying taxes all those years? In the United States, you paid insurance money all those years, and when you need them, they let you down. So those are just 5 ways then that the healthcare system screws over millions and millions of people every year. There are probably more. If you can think of any more, feel free to comment down below. So what are some solutions? I'm a big believer in not just coming to the table with a list of problems. What are some solutions to what I just listed? Well, for obvious reasons, it's not easy to find solutions to problems as vast as these, but what I would urge everybody to do is to stay well informed. Stay educated, take charge of your own healthcare decisions. Understand what to expect. Know the reality of the situation. Don't be caught off guard. Live the anti-inflammatory lifestyle so you have the best possible chance of not even needing doctors or healthcare interactions. And finally, if you can do this, I know this isn't easy, but if there's any way that you can get outside the confines of our current corrupted healthcare system, then please go ahead and do so, where you will likely be able to get a more decent level of care. It's sad that that would be the case, but that is the reality. And your health and your family's health is very important. What could be more important? Thank you everyone for watching. Dr. Suneel Dhand. Feel free to comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. Check out my Health Academy and my uncensored platform. Those links are down below, as is a link to my free newsletter. If you're not already signed up for that, feel free to do so. Hit the like button if you like this video and the bell button for more similar videos in the future. Take care all of you, stay strong, and we will speak again in the next video.